What's up, everybody? Welcome back to RacingDudes.com. Welcome back to another one of our previews. Well, they finally drew the card for the Sam F. Davis. Let's talk about it now. Tampa Bay Downs, race 11 on the card. Tampa Bay, always a fun day of racing. Race 11 on the card Saturday, February 8th, and it is the Sam F. Davis, $250,000 here for this one. 1 mile and a 16th. We have got a strong, well, a foolish field of horses. I don't know how strong they're going to be. It's kind of up and down. We're going to go through them one by one. I'll put it up the screen now. Get a beating around the bush here. Field of 10 line up for this one. Let's go through them one by one, and I'll give you a winner at the end. Boy, this is an interesting contest when we start to analyze these runners. Let's just start with number 1, Camp Hale. And I think the theme of this video when we talk about these horses, there are some positives with many of them, but there are some negatives with a lot of them as well. Let's start with the negative with Camp Hale. The horse hasn't won in 3 starts. Could definitely be running on one of the maiden special weights on the card. 3 races, 3 losses. However, to 3 pretty decent horses. Lost on debut to David of Athens. Now, David of Athens is hurt now and off the Derby trail, but at one time kind of looked like a promising prospect. Faced Guns and Loaded next in a maiden special weight at Churchill Downs, was second again, and then faced a horse named Grande last time out at Gulfstream Park. Grande, pretty nice horse, hopefully, for the Tom Pletcher barn, and was second to him, beaten 2.5. The problem is 18-1 on debut, ran second, then was bet down to 6-5, ran second, beaten 2 3/4, bet down to 2-5 in that Gulfstream Park maiden special weight, and was defeated by 2.5. I kind of like him, but I just can't get there with picking him to win in this spot. I'm not going to be surprised if he does, though. He's not going to be overwhelmed, even though he's a maiden. He's been facing horses that I think are pretty decent. Guns Loaded obviously won the Mucho Macho Man. Now, he didn't come back to run all that well when he stretched out, but Guns Loaded beat him at 6 furlongs, talking about Camp Hale. So I think that's, pretty darn good race. So long story short, I'm kind of waiting for this one to show up and actually get a win. He's ran good enough to win a couple of them. We'll just see what happens here. I kind of like him, but I didn't have the guts to put him on top. The number 2 is Treaty of Rome, another interesting horse here, trained by Chad Brown. The horse on second asking was able to break the maiden at Aqueduct going 1 mile. Went up and faced the Mucho Macho Man company in the Mucho Macho Man Stakes there on January 4th at Gulfstream Park. Was closing fast, but was able to get, just able to get second, only beating a neck. Guns Loaded was able to hold this horse off. Now, the good news is you look at that race, you go, yeah, that was a pretty good effort, was gaining ground, maybe could get the job done going longer. The bad news is, A, Guns Loaded did not come back to run well at all when stretching out, so maybe you don't hold that against Treaty of Rome because you think he is going to stretch out and be a little bit better going longer. The problem is he didn't exactly win the gallop out that day at the Mucho Macho Man either. Now, if Guns Loaded was super tired, which we kind of assumed he was in the Mucho Macho Man, you would think a horse that was closing pretty fast on him would gallop out ahead of him. That did not happen. You go back and watch that replay. They just kind of ran together there. So, I don't know. It's mixed signals. I do think going to mile 16 should help this horse. Again, though, I just couldn't quite pull the trigger on what I wanted to do with him. Probably not going to put him on top in this spot. I'm not going to put him on top of this spot, I should say. But kind of feel like him and Camp Hale could both be board hitters here. We'll see what happens with Treaty of Rome. The number 3 is John Hancock. Just one race for John Hancock, and it was a win right here at Tampa Bay Downs. So if you haven't noticed, Brad Cox brought a lot of horses down to South Florida and to train a lot, and then they would go other places. Or if some of them stuck around and ran at Gulfstream Park and Tampa Bay here with John Hancock as an example. This horse reminds me a lot of Tappan Street, who was entered last week in the Holy Bull and ran second. Now, the good news is this looks like a little bit easier field maybe than the Holy Bull. So we've got that going for us. And I think the bad news is I'm not sure this horse is quite as good as Tappan Street. I think that may be why this horse went to Tampa Bay Downs. So that's problem number 1. I do think we'll see a nice improvement, though. I do think, stretching out down to a mile 16th will be good after that 6 furlong race. And I also really like that Flavian Pratt jumps aboard. That's got to be a good sign, and maybe a bad sign for a horse we're going to talk about here in a minute. But anyway, the flip side of Flavian Pratt jumping aboard a Brad Cox horse didn't really work out at Oaklawn Park when he tried in the Smarty Jones and when he tried it in the Southwest. Those horses, talking about Hot Property and Patch Adams, they didn't run very well. So it's definitely not a lock. Maybe more, like I said, a negative on a horse we'll talk about in a minute. Number 4 is Dr. Ruben. Believe it or not, guys, the Springboard Mile at Remington Park's been a pretty damn productive race. Cole Battle was able to win that race. He went on to win the Smarty Jones. And Speed King, who finished second in the Remington Park Springboard Mile, all he did was go on and win the Southwest Stakes. Can Dr. Ruben kind of follow that path of a strong Springboard Mile? He was fourth that day, beaten 7 1/4. Before that, 2 races back, he broke his maiden at Santa Anita going a mile. This is a really good spot, really logical spot for this horse. I'm not going to play today. Kind of a pass for me. I do like the spot, though. I think this is a good way to kind of get him going. The number 5 is a Gatekeeper, and Gatekeeper coming in here as a maiden as well. So him and Camp Hale will both be maidens coming into this race. Lost on debut at Oaklawn Park by a neck to I Got Game. Pretty good race that day, going 6 furlongs. Stretched out to a mile last time out at Oaklawn Park. Bet down to 3-2. Was third, beaten 6 lengths. So that's not good at all. That he got third, beaten 6 there. But look, I'm not gonna support this one. I don't like this maiden quite as well as I like the maiden on the rails. So kind of a pass for me. Number 6 is Owen Almighty. And I thought was kind of a tough luck, quote unquote, loser last time out in the Pasco Stakes. So in the Pasco, the horse crossed the wire in first and by a length, but was later disqualified kind of for bumping rivals. And he was actually all the way down to 5th. So kind of cut off a horse. Maybe it was a little bit of a careless ride. Maybe there's nothing you could do. It's hard when you're kind of in tight like that to kind of lay blame. But I will say, not that you can't really ignore the DQ because it happened, but at the other time, I kind of think he was the best horse out of the Pasco. Kind of feel like this is a horse that really hasn't done a whole lot wrong. Now, he's stretching out to 2 turns for the first time. This horse is by Speightstown out of a Bayern mare. So it's interesting to kind of, the pedigree says maybe a mile, maybe a 1-turn horse, but there's also a chance a mile 16th will work as well. So I kind of like him. Only 1 loss in 4 starts that actually, he didn't cross the wire first, I should say. And that was a 2nd place effort in the Iroquois. I think he's sneaky here. Or maybe sneaky is probably not the right word. He's not like he's flying under the radar, but I think he's tough here is probably the better way to put it. Irad Ortiz was aboard last time and the time before. He'll get aboard here for the 3rd straight time. Number 7 is Poster. Good news for him. He is 3 for 3. 3 races, 3 wins, 1 on the turf twice before winning the Remsen in his last start. Flavian Pratt was aboard that day. He has chose to ride John Hancock here. I thought that was a weird move. We'll see. Maybe he's spot on with that one, but can't be a great sign for Poster. He does get Antonio Gallardo aboard. Now, Gallardo, very, very good at Tampa Bay Downs. He's a very good local rider. He's a very good rider anyway. So, look, Gallardo is more than capable. So I want to say that right away. This is not a knock on him. But I don't know, anytime you win a grade 2 race and then your jockey jumps off, it's a strange thing, especially for a horse that just has 1 race under his belt. But we'll see what Poster can do here. Obviously 3 for 3. And we should mention in one of those turf races, he actually matched up against Cole Battle, winner of the Smarty Jones and the Remington Park Springboard Mile. He's able to beat Cole Battle pretty easily. So that's kind of a feather in his cap there. So look, I don't know about the Pratt thing. That's weird. From a time form speed figure standpoint, he hasn't really run a real fast number yet. So that's kind of a negative for me as well. Probably going to be the favorite in this race. We'll see if we can beat him once we get through the last 3 horses. Speaking of the last 3 horses, let's go to number 8, Naughty Rascal. This is a horse that did get moved up to finish first in the Pasco Stakes after losing by a length originally to Owen Almighty. He also lost by 3/4 of a length to Donut God, and I kind of like Donut God a little bit here. He's not in this race, but I do like him as a horse. So 2, quote unquote losses. One of them did turn out to be a win to horses that aren't too bad. I like this horse a little bit. Pedigree says, yeah, maybe a mile 16th. It might be okay. But so, yeah, I mean, if you want to take a shot, I would go for it with him. 4 wins in 6 starts. So the horse he finds ways to win races, even when the other horse has to be DQ'd in front of him. The number 9 is Smoken Boy. It's hard to talk a lot about the form of Smoken Boy. because he's coming in, from Chile. The horse was second by a nose, and then a winner of a maiden special weight, and then a winner of a stakes race. So easy, 2 easy wins, and now we'll try to come to the United States. D'Angelo gets a hold of the horse today. Paco Lopez will ride. That's right, Paco's back. The horse has a United States pedigree by Catholic Boy out of a Cairo Prince mare. Actually, pretty damn good breeding. I'm pretty excited to see what this horse does. And my rule with these kind, wait and see, give him one race before you jump on him. He's pretty nice, I think. I think he's in with a shot. I'm not going to pick him to win, but if you want to take a shot with him, his last few races look pretty good. You just don't really know what they're racing against over there. That's kind of the main thing about it. So we'll see how the form translates for that one. And then, okay, finally, the number 10 is Very Bold, and this is a horse that has 1 win and 5 starts. Last time out was in the Pasco Stakes and was third, beaten 5.5 there. So moved up to second, obviously with the disqualification of Owen Almighty. Past that, broke the maiden 3 races back at Churchill Downs, going 7 furlongs. Look, his races haven't quite been good enough. They haven't really, they don't really look like they're going to match up today. So kind of a pass for me. I do think the stretch out might help this horse a little bit. We might see some improvement. Horses by Union Rags out of a Candy Ride mare. So that does kind of say, yeah, we could see improvement on the stretch out. All right. That is the field of 10 here. We have got, we're going to split the difference basically and go number 6, Owen Almighty, to win this year's running on the Sam F. Davis Stakes. Look, I think he's the classiest horse in the race, other than the number 7 poster. I just don't like the jockey jumps off the number 7 poster to go to a different horse. So that's why I kind of think, yeah, maybe Owen Almighty's the one here. Gets Irad back to ride again. The only question mark that I have for the number 6, Owen Almighty, is the stretch out to 1 mile and 16th. If the race was 7 furlongs, I would totally go with him. I just am a little fearful when we stretch out to 1 mile and 16th. Maybe the horse isn't quite as good, but he set a really fast pace last time and was still able to kind of kick on. I think he's going to be really tough here. I think he'll stalk the pace this time, or maybe he falls out on the lead when stretching out to 2 turns for the first time. If he gets the distance, I think he gets it done. I think he's good enough at 1 mile and 16th. I don't know about 1 mile and 1/8, but I think this 1 mile and 16th will still be in his wheelhouse. So on top for the Sam F. Davis, I'm going to go number 6, Owen Almighty. All right, guys, that'll do it for a preview of the Sam F. Davis Stakes live from Tampa Bay Downs, Saturday, February 8th. Hit that like button if you like the video. Hit subscribe if you really like it. Want to get alerted anytime we do videos like this. And most importantly, good luck if you're betting Tampa Bay Downs on Saturday.